Recently, in the south of France, the eloquent Miss Katharine Hepburn took time out from filming The Lion in Winter to hearken back to the day at Warner Brothers, when the greatest entertainer of his time, Al Jolson, startled the world with sudden delight when he spoke from the screen for the first time.
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
In 1927, those immortal words broke the voice barrier. And judging by what we're seeing these days, I would say that Al Jolson was right. 1927 was the year that brought us, I quote from the advertisement of the day, pictures that talk like living people. Also in 1927, the newly formed Motion Picture Academy decided that it should give awards for outstanding achievement. The question was, what kind of an award? Cedric Gibbons, head of MGM's art department, came up with the answer, now familiar to all of us, Oscar. A man holding a crusader's sword and standing on a reel of film. That's a very moving idea, if you really think about it. Because that is exactly what all the contenders are doing here tonight. You are standing on your reels of film. Originally, it was voted upon by a board of directors numbering 18 people. Now it is voted upon by the entire Academy membership. We number 3,009. Among the characterizations honored during that first decade were a Southern belle, a lady barber, and 3 young actresses playing actresses. Among the men, a prime minister, a scientist, a king, and a Portuguese fisherman. It was a hell of a long time ago, but we weren't bad. The most honored film of that first decade, one that won 5 Oscars, was a simple and unpretentious film done in a new and improvised style. The remarkable Frank Capra's It Happened One Night.
To continue our retrospection of the Academy's 40 years of service to our arts and sciences, let us go to France. Director Dick Dunlop took his camera there last month and sought the artist who could match the splendor of the Louis XVI room at Versailles. Here is the awards and heart-winning Miss Olivia de Havilland.
In 1940, the Academy decided it would be fun to make nervous wrecks of the nominees. For the first time, the winners were kept in total secrecy until the Oscars were actually announced. From then on, if the evening was warm, we sat there frozen. If the weather was chilly, we sat there smothering. Until the breathless moment when the now famous envelope made its appearance. Then we tried to stay alive until it was opened. During the second decade, the Academy acclaimed as Best Picture 3 films which reflected the war years: the memorable Mrs. Miniver, Casablanca, and The Best Years of Our Lives, and continue to honor players in roles covering the dramatic rainbow. A Song and Dance Man, 2 Priests, a Soldier, and Another Soldier. There were also 2 very noble, self-sacrificing mothers. And a Southern belle. And the film most honored in this second decade, The Story of Another Southern Belle. This film was awarded 8 Oscars. Gone with the Wind.
To guide us through the third decade of Oscars history, here is the lovely actress who won the award for her performance in Country Girl. And now she's got her own country. here's Miss Grace Kelly speaking from the Louis XV room in the little palace on the hill overlooking downtown Monaco.
The third decade was a decade of firsts. For the first time, a film made abroad was honored as the best picture of its year, the British-made Hamlet. For the first time, a musical made abroad was honored, that lovely, not to be forgotten, An American in Paris. And Oscar made his first appearance on television and became a citizen of the world. For when Hollywood's domination of its own awards was challenged by films from other countries, this member of the Academy is very proud to say that it responded with courtesy and appreciation. For it promptly established a new award for the best foreign language film. But in addition, in these 10 years, how many nominations would you guess were voted to foreign films and artists? Would you believe 119? Some of the acting awards of this decade went to a prince and a princess, a vagabond and another princess, a sheriff, a prisoner, and a faithful wife. 2 films of this decade tied for the most honors, each winning 8 Oscars. One was based on a novel that just couldn't be made into a movie, From Here to Eternity. And the other was that equally hard-hitting, equally realistic On the Waterfront.
Completing our review of Oscar's biography, here's a former award winner and current nominee, the extraordinarily talented Miss Anne Bancroft.
Tonight, the Academy celebrates the end of its 4th decade. And though his spirit is as young as ever, Oscar is entering middle age. He's even gained weight. Back in 1928, he weighed just under 7 pounds. And today, he weighs 11. Isn't that interesting? During this decade, the Academy honored actors and actresses in the roles of a handyman and a housekeeper, a lawyer, a teacher, and a shrew, a professor, and a nursemaid. And the most honored film in the history of the Academy was part of this decade. The winner of 11 awards, Ben-Hur. As Ben-Hur was the most honored film, the man most honored was the winner of 30 personal Oscars. He was a truly remarkable talent. Walt Disney. And he gave us the most dashing, dauntless hero in the annals of the screen. 40 years of the magic talking lantern. 40 years of memories. Ah, but in the 40 years ahead, listen, folks, you ain't heard nothing yet.